So if you guys missed the last music vitamins, I did a thing on Drake case study, Russ case study. It's all on YouTube. Scan the QR code. Please buy a drink. If you already haven't, support us, support the bar. And I'm going to soon, do we have everybody in the building? Where's Jay? I want to make sure we got all the panelists up here. We're good? All right, cool. So, and again, just so the panels are ready, because I know maybe we didn't talk about this, when we get everybody up here, we're going to hopefully, if you guys are willing to donate the time for, hour and a half, we're going to do a dope discussion. I got good questions we're going to be discussing. And then every 25 minutes, we have one artist that gets to perform, chosen by the one and only, mixed by Gabriel. That's going to be the stage right there. And it's kind of like Shark Tank. The artist gets 1 minute to introduce themselves, and they could do only one song. It better be their best song. No, it's not random. You have to submit your song. Guys, if you got a ticket for here, I appreciate you, but read the directions, because literally everything is spelled out so a third grader can follow the rules, you know what I'm saying? How to submit your song, what file format to send it in, how to come to the show. We're doing this for you guys. Me, Jay, we're spending a lot of money, a lot of our time right now to not charge nobody to come here, you know what I'm saying? So I want everybody to perform and have a chance. Look, people are going to be getting signed off of the show. There may be already some deals happening because if you've been to the last one, you've seen what type of people we got up here. VPs from Def Jam, DJ Enough, King of New York is a DJ, you know what I'm saying? So, if you can make a relationship or make an impression on somebody like him or her when they come through, that could be the game changer if you got all your other ducks in a row. Are we good? All right. So I'm super pumped about tonight's show because we got some big people in the house. So I'm going to start with my man Moneynels, if you want to come up to the stage, if you don't mind. So he owns a company called Brands to Lifestyle. Currently, he's working with Sony and The Orchard. If you guys don't know, The Orchard is an invite-only distribution company that's literally a Sony company that helps a lot of big name and independent artists. And they work for or distribute for Joyner Lucas, Ozuna, Bad Bunny, a lot of big names. But he's been in the game for so long, definitely a legend. And the brand that he turned into lifestyle brands, he worked with people like Eminem, 50 Cent, on the Get Rich or Die Trying soundtrack, The Game, DJ Khaled, 21 Savage, French Montana, Joey Badass, one of my favorites. I can go on and on. But thank you, sir. Thank you for coming through. All right. Next person we got is Corey CL, my man CL. Yeah. And I'm definitely pumped to have him on the stage. He owns a company called Digiwax, which is a digital music distribution company that helps independent artists, record labels, and music managers to promote and distribute their music to thousands of DJs, radio stations, and other industry professionals. Digiwax has been in business for over 2 decades. I definitely got a lot of questions for him, especially the DJs. Do not sleep on the DJ network. So let me get the next guy. Been a big fan since the mid-2000s, because when Jay told me Consequence was coming through, I was like, hold on, the Consequence that I know? And sure enough, it was. So if you don't know Consequence, this man's been crushing it since early 2000s as a producer. He's been, signed to good music, put out a super dope album in 2007, work with Q-Tip and Trop Called Quest. Let me make sure I get everything right from this man. We got Outkast in the building? Consequence in the building. He worked with Beyonce, Patti LaBelle, it says on here. Damn, that's crazy. Kid Cudi, of course. Common, Talib Kweli, John Legends. The legend. Where's Consequence at? Appreciate you coming through. And the last but not least, we got Kast One, DJ Kast One. If you live in New York, I know you know Kast One. You have to. But he's a heavy hitter DJ. Shout out to DJ Enough, by the way. JC's childhood friend. If it wasn't for Enough and JC, a lot of these guys would not be out here. So he gives the blessing. He gives me the stamp to be able to do what I do here every single month. So definitely appreciate DJ enough and the whole heavy hitter crew, but Kast One is a heavy hitter DJ on Hot 97, Sirius XM Radio. He's AandR for Legacy Recordings. Began his career on air with weekly shows at his college radio station, which is dope because that's a lot. That's a story of a lot of DJs that have a long, long career. And he's worked with top record labels such as Interscope, Atlantic, Universal, Def Jam, artists such as Kanye, Swiss Beats, and much more. I know he's been, with Ice Spice a lot recently. If you look at his Instagram, putting a lot of brands. How you doing, my man? And so where's he at? Where's Kast One? There you go. Appreciate you coming through, man. All right, and so we got 2 mics because we're a little bit low budget right now. So I'm gonna share with Moneynels, and then if you guys, can pass it around. But this is how we're gonna do this. I do have questions for each one of you, but I want to start with, if you were here and heard me talking about the AI stuff, what happened with the Kanye, Drake and the Weeknd track, and what Grimes said. I just kind of want to get your perspective of what's going on with this AI. Like, how do you view it? How do you think it's going to affect you or affect what you do?
Oh, somebody be too crazy. Sound engineer, you good? All right.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I thought it was a great topic to bring up. It's the time. Technology rarely loses. Rarely loses. I think the last loss it took might have been the Beta Max that Sony tried to put out. That lost. Rarely do you see technology lose. And AI is something that you must adapt because it's not going to go anywhere. It's been here quietly. ChatGPT sort of broke, and that became like the big story. And you've been seeing things roll out since that, which honestly was maybe 5 months ago at this point. So this is all new stuff. But one, I think it's the future, obviously. It's gonna allow artists to monetize their likeness, their brands even more. I like the fact that they came up with like a 50-50 sort of baseline deal, but I don't think it's gonna end there. I think that's just the beginning of it. And it just does so much for everybody to get more. And to make yourself even better. On the music is one side, on the business is another. And I really thought it was dope that you highlighted a lot of that stuff because there's a lack of knowledge behind it, which is a lot of times the issue is that, these terms, we get caught up in these terms, but we just need to look at what can you do with this thing? And how can we utilize it to monetize our content or our likeness or anything like that? So I'm all for it. I think that it is the future, and I think that there are dope tools out there like Digiwax is one of our partners, and what they do is they do AI stems, right? So they'll take your song, they'll break it down into stems, and turn that into an NFT that they'll sell to producers to remake your music with all types of sounds of Khan's voice or whoever's voice,
nice.
And things like that. So
for like sampling, right? So that way they can have the digital contract for the sample.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. Digiwax, check them out.
Okay.
Well, I definitely, I'm on the creative side of things, and as a creative and as a manager of intellectual property, to CL's point, we've, especially in urban, we've always figured out a way to finesse technology and move with the curve as we've grown as a culture. And I think the priority for creators when it comes to AI is retention, obviously. Like, well, what does that mean for me? Me being 100% of me, how do I divvy me up, right? How do I allow somebody to have the liberty to permissibly infringe and live with it, essentially, you know what I mean? Because the thing that makes every artist an artist, every talent a talent, is that unique component that makes you you. You're right. You look in the mirror, you see yourself. You don't see a copy of yourself or the best impression of yourself. You see you, right? And so if someone was to take that and put that in their mirror, you would feel a way, right? Naturally, as a human being, somebody whether it's let's take it down to tier one, like just getting dressed, right? As a person in urban and living in this culture, for myself, 30 years doing this, right? I think about what I wear, right? So when you have something that can mimic or interpret your thoughts to a degree, it could never fully do that, but the interpretation of it is your intellectual property, right? So then which is the argument of streaming, which is, and once again, like I said, we eventually get to where we finesse the curve, but it's getting around the bend that's always the scary thing, right? For everybody, because we like, all right, we got this new thing and we're experiencing something new, and then we know we're not turning back. At one point, I never thought I would ever not have to make a CD, the cover, like with the CD, the stamp,
The booklet, right?
Not the insert, just what's on the actual CD, right? That's not a thought no more. I don't think about that no more, but I had to process out of that notion that I was used to, because I grew up when it was tapes. The purple tape was the most magnificent shit in 1995, right? And then we steadily moved away from that. So we do eventually get there, but with the thing about hip hop, which is ironically, it's the 50 years that it's growing. It's still very young.
You gotta be authentic, right? I mean, that's kind of the bedrock of hip hop as well.
Yeah,
Like, if
it's
you're
still
not
very
authentic,
young. So that's just my take on it. But
Let me ask you this real quick. Would you be like, if you had a similar situation, somebody remade one of your track, like you and Common from back in the day, and now it's going viral, it's going on all the blogs and all that, how would you react to it? Since you own your own record label, you're kind of more in control of what you do.
I think it's an extension of sync licensing, right? So I'll give you an example. An artist reached out, maybe I don't know if I should say their name or not. I'll just say it. Look, G-Eazy reached out. He had did a cover of Spaceship, and they wanted us to sign off on it. And my take on it was, I respect it, because number one, we're gonna give you this is gonna be the master side, this is gonna be the writer side, whoa. So we do that, all right, the numbers, G-Eazy doing all right for himself, you could pay for it, right? But then the thing is just like, but it's Spaceship, right?
And you gotta decide, because in the way you're co-signing it too.
Spaceships.
Right.
I don't have 10 spaceships. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, when it becomes Spaceship for his audience, is it still Spaceship? Is it still ours? Is it still me, Kanye, and GLC's, right? So that's the give and take of all of this, right? When you decide it's permissible to infringe, whether friendly or aggressively, it's just you just have to understand that now this takes on a new life, right?
Exactly.
So you have to be okay with that.
Right. No, I mean, that's a good take, and I always recommend, like, I guess to do with G-Eazy, like they approached you first, right? Because I feel like, hey, anybody can take risks. I've taken plenty of risks. It's coming here, not speaking English, all that. But there's a limit to what to what you should consider doing, in my opinion. But handle it correctly. I think that was the right way to do on their part. Kast One, what are your thoughts on? On AI.
On AI?
Yeah.
I mean, my stance is kind of like a little bit of CLs, a little bit of consequence, where it's scary, but everything is scary until you figure it out.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, for example, when Napster came, that was scary, right? Because all of a sudden, you could just go on your computer and get a song. You won't need a label. You don't need to go to the store to buy it. You could just get a song for free. Like,
especially for labels, it was scary.
Right. So, eventually, Apple came around and figured it out with the labels, iTunes, whatever else. But before that, you guys got to remember, somebody figured it out. Remember Soulja Boy? Soulja Boy figured it out. What'd he do? He went on Napster. He put his song on there and titled it 50 Cent in the Club.
Because everybody was searching for that.
And everybody was searching for it, and guess what? Now everybody knew who Soulja Boy was, right? He figured it out. So it's like technology is always scary until somebody figures it out. Same thing with Netflix. Blockbuster was the biggest thing in the world. Netflix came through. Blockbuster was like, what y'all gonna do? Y'all ain't gonna do nothing. When's the last time y'all went to Blockbuster? That shit dead.
That's a great
Done,
example.
right? Finished.
Blockbuster didn't see it coming.
Right,
As
they didn't
large
see it
as
coming.
they were.
Same thing with YouTube. This is all, like CL said, it's just gonna be progressive, bro. It's gonna happen over and over and over, and everything is gonna change, but change is good because change gives opportunity, right? You just gotta figure out the opportunity, and that's the hard part. But once you get that done, especially if you're not in the game, the best way to get in the game, when there's a change in the game.
Exactly.
Right? So for the most part, the people that are going to benefit from AI the most are the people that are on the outside looking in that are going to be able to use it to their advantage. Because everybody that's already, like, all the labels, all the artists that are already on right now, they're trying to figure out how to protect what they've already built. Whereas everybody that's outside on the AI is trying to figure it out. Oh, well, I don't have anything to lose. I can use this to finesse that or finesse this. And, you know, I'm telling you, it's going to happen. If somebody's sitting in this room, somebody outside, they're going to figure it out. And they're going to make it work for them. And then everybody else is going to go,
Yep.
that was it. That's how we did it, right?
Absolutely. And, like,
So-
I know a lot of people say, right, like, there's a lot of people that get rich during market downturns. So when 2008 happened, I was, like, 21 getting into the real estate game. Me and my business, we got crushed, lost a lot of money. I'm like, fuck, like, what happened? But if I would have known what I know now, definitely a huge opportunity would have been making money. But I was listening to the online shit of the, you know, people that are out there marketing and all that. So we follow strategies that were already, like, you got to be expert to understand what works and doesn't work. But that's the same thing now. Now that I'm, you know, almost 20 years older, and now there's another market downturn happening, I can look back and understand what happened and what's going on now. And if I'm an expert in a particular technology or industry, it's much easier to figure out how we're going to survive, like how you're going to get to the next level. You know, so, and one thing I tell a lot of people is that, I forgot where I heard this, but basically, try to learn the lessons from other people as much as possible, because we can't live long enough ourselves to learn all those lessons. So I always read books about entrepreneurs in different industries. Like, I'm consuming Audible books. Now I started swimming, I'm doing a mile a day, and I'm listening to a book. You know what I'm saying? So that's empowered me a lot of times, not even knowing how I was gonna apply that to the music industry. I'm like, boom, it just kind of worked. So, but now I appreciate everybody's perspective on that. So let me now go, and I'm gonna start with Moneynels. I got questions for each one of you. We're gonna go through one question, and then we're gonna get an artist to perform. If you guys don't, it's kind of like Shark Tank. We're gonna have 1 minute to pitch their brand, one song, only one song, and then we're gonna go around the panel, and you guys let me know what you all think about the artist. So, all right, before we get to that, so Moneynels, I got a question for you. You know, so you working with Sony, working with the Orchard team, you know, I definitely appreciate invite only. This one? Okay, cool. So I appreciate what, you know, Sony Orchard does, because I've had a few clients that are on it, but we've had some learning to do, you know what I'm saying? So when you start at the bottom of the totem pole, it's hard to figure out, like, how to get your resources, your company's resources behind the artist. But tell me, like, when somebody on, like, Joyner Lucas's level, let's say you put the song out for distribution, they're 3 weeks ahead of time, what sort of things happen at your company? Like, what are you guys doing to try to get that track the best possible kickoff when the thing drops?
For us, you know, it starts with a timeline, the vision of what the artist is looking at and how he sees the record. And then, of course, we share our vision of what we can do on our side. There's yeses and nos going back and forth. You know, somebody like Joyner, he's very smart. He comes on time with his music, but he also comes with his music video. And he tells me, here's the clean, here's the dirty. You know, if you can't get the record out for me, I blast it on the national level. Also, CL, he'll do me the favor and send out the record too at the same time. And then let the people decide what, you know, where the record should go. In Joyner's case, you know, his records are very, I feel like his strength comes from a lot from YouTube and DSPs and of course, you know, hip hop playlisting. But, you know, with him, sky's the limit, because he does an incredible job with his music videos. I think he's top tier to me when it comes to delivering a music video.
That's how I found him for the first time when they did with his boy, where he was rapping the white guy's part and vice versa.
I'm Not Racist, is that what it is? Yeah. Yep.
Right. And think about like how much was the budget for that video? I mean that thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, at that time,
concept is so
actually, he
dope.
was on another label. I think it was Atlantic or something like that. And then he decided to go off on his own and come into the Orchard and, you know, have a real partnership. But the guy's very successful. He's on point, and, you know, when he sets his goal out on on a mission with what kind of record he's gonna put out, he delivers all the way, you know, from beginning to end.
Okay.
So it makes our job easy on our side. He comes with the video, he comes with the music. Depending on the timing of what's going on and what day he wants to go out, you know, we hey, I want to set this up. I want to set this up for you, and you know, same thing with our marketing people. Hey, we want to set this up, and same thing with media. So it all works hand in hand for me.
And because you guys are pretty much with Sony and they
Right.
got the whole movie side, you don't have a relationship, I'm assuming, with like the program directors or the what are they called? The music director for a movie?
Music
like for
directors.
Sing licensing, right? You do that as well to
Yeah,
help?
well, for me, I handle on a national level between the urban chart and the rhythm chart. I pretty much handle everything mix show and programming. Of course, I don't handle it by myself. I have a staff at the same time working with me, but we all have to be in sync. We can't be all over the place. You know, sometimes artists, you know, because they live with the product. Not saying Joyner, but other artists, they'll put out a record today, and then a week from now put out another one, then put a different video out for a different record, and then eventually it kind of just looks like it's all over the place. And good luck if it sticks, and you know,
Right.
see what happens.
No, that's dope. Now, I really appreciate what you guys do because, like I said, I have some clients that have had either under you or Empire and all that. And if you know how to work with your team the right way and approach them the right way, a lot of big things can happen.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, I have great examples. Joey Badass. You know, his team was actually, not just his team, but he was on like, hey, I need to go next level. And, you know, my reply was like, well, I need to hear the music. And he was like, come to the studio, I want to play you some things. And once he actually played me a different record. Then he played me Devastated. And I just saw the growth. And before Devastated, Joey's records was all, you know, a lot of it was underground. He would get some radio play and stuff like that, but not to a place of rotation.
Okay.
With Devastated, it was like, wow, we see this. And then he's like, this is the video, this is what I'm gonna do, this is what I'm gonna add to it, and okay, you set the tone, we're gonna come behind you and help you out, and it worked out. And you know, for me, it was promotional tour. We did the whole entire Northeast, then we went to LA.
Yeah, it's huge.
He'd never been, you know, to a radio station in different markets besides New York, so it was all new to him. He saw how DC is different from New York, how New York is different from Boston. But you know, he got embraced well, and you know, he's a worker. My whole thing is, you know, I want it for you, but if you don't want it for yourself, it's gonna be very difficult.
As the artist, you got to pull, you know, a lot. You got to wear a lot of hats. Put it that way.
Right.
And I know from experience, like I said, because I work with Sony Orchard as well on behalf of my clients. The more they see you do stuff, come organized, come prep, all the different versions, the DJ packs, all of that, that's gonna entice him to get his team on behind you. Be like, yo, there's already so much they've done. We gotta help them, you know, with the resources we got to get to the
Well,
next level.
it's a business.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's a business. Probably the difference between us and other people is we really live the culture. So it's like, you know, you can bullshit us, and then we come right back and give it to you and say, you sure about that?
Right.
Okay, and then, you know, and it's not about checking somebody, but, you know, sometimes artists have egos. Sometimes, well, a lot of times they have egos, but managers, they homies, or they just follow the suit. Okay, well, that's what he says, that's what it is. And no, it's not what it is. So you gotta be able to give it back and make sure you stand on facts.
Get your critical thinking hat on. For sure.
Right.
So, CL, I got a question for you. Moneynels, if you don't mind passing the mic. So, you know, kind of picking up on that, you need water? Okay. So, tell me more about what Digiwax is, and let's say, same example, artist that's being supported by them, but they also need some, like, extra help with getting it to DJs around different areas and things like that. Like, you know, what can Digiwax do in that scenario? Like, how do you guys work with brands or artists?
Yeah, we're sort of a split agency. On one side, we're music marketing based on the DJ. So we're a digital record pool, but we're also a DJ network that comes together every week we have a DJ conference call called New Music Wednesdays that connects DJs from all over via Zoom. We also have Digiwax Radio, which is another platform that we use, well, digiwaxradio.com, that we also utilize to break records to DJs. But overall, it's been our blast service and our digital record pool that's really powered and broke, I don't know, man, hundreds, thousands, I don't know how many records across the world, but it's been a connector for, I don't know, since 2004.
Having a good DJ network is huge. So let me ask you this: when you say the DJ connections, are you like working with the heavy hitters, with the core DJs? Like
we work with everybody: heavy hitters, core DJs, union DJs, nerve DJs, fleet DJs, coalition DJs, all over the world. There's no, we're a universal system that's aimed at A, delivering music, B, connecting DJs to artists, artists to DJs. And then we create the byproducts of the promotion from that. So depending, the first thing you got to do is literally what Nelson was touching on, which is a SWOT analysis. If I'm going to work with a consequence or any artist, I first have to sit and just, with my team, analyze what the content they have, their vision, because that's very important, and then try to figure out how do we crack the code to them being successful. And then we have to see, like, how do we do that using the tools that we have. So DJ is a range, like we said, I didn't know you was a college DJ, Kast, but you did it all. So you got the local DJ, right, at the house parties and all of that. But then you got the college DJ or your high school college DJ. Then you got your mix show DJ, the guy that's on the radio. You got DJs that are doing Twitch and digital platforms. They still go live on IG and everything. And then you got guys that are on tour, people that are doing arenas and everything. So how do I connect the music to these people? And a lot of times it's a seed. It's literally doing the DJ conference calls. It's literally going to go visit, say hi, touch base. Don't beg the DJ to play your song if you don't know him. Build a relationship. Hey, man, how you doing? Nice to meet you. I'm an artist. I want to say, I hear your set, doing your thing. I do make music. Well, I'm not going to stress you. You want to drink? You know what I'm saying? When you get off, can I talk to you? Just want to try to figure out, listen to my song, give me some advice at some point. Build a relationship, and then go from there. Go ahead.
One thing that we've taken advantage of in the past, I want to say 5 years since Instagram started doing video reels is, hey man, you like the record? If you play it, please tape it and tag the artist. And the first person I call right after that is I tell the artist, hey man, look out for a tag that's coming from so-and-so, Kast One, Flex, I just named the DJ, whoever said that they liked the record, they was gonna play it. That is a big deal to a brand new artist.
Absolutely.
Big deal. Like, because in their heads, they're like, wow, this guy's playing my record organically. He likes it. He tweeted it out, I'm tweeting it, and all of a sudden the audiences is going like this. And then the more you do it, the better it is.
And they can repost that on their social media.
Right.
It's a cosign.
Like right now, everybody's reposting, so
yeah,
you already know.
That's dope. And then I'm going to ask you more questions later, too, because I got a few clients where we're trying to saturate the down south, like certain states. So I know, it's helpful to kind of regionalize in the beginning, especially when you're independent, so you can create that buzz, so we can really get them some shows, help them sell a little bit of merch. So, I'll ask you how the packages work, too.
I know you got that other question, but one thing I do want to settle, right, because all the artists that are out here, right, there are, I've heard between 100,000 and 200,000 new songs going up a day on DSPs and people are releasing records and everything. And, about 10% of that is coming from major labels. 90% of that stuff is got less than 10 listens or plays.
Yep.
90% of the record label stuff got tons of listens and plays. The thing that you guys got to understand is this is an eternal grind. Nobody's too good. The doors are wide open. And if you're not filling your calendar up with everything from, and shout out to my man Tone is in the building. We was talking about, if you're not filling up your calendar with every potential podcast, every potential college radio show, local digital radio show, you know, live IG interview, all the way up, then you're not really going hard. You know, this shit is like a big basketball league, NBA. You know, this cat's waking up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m., planning they shit going hard. And if you ain't on that level, son, I'm just keeping it real. A lot of what we saying is good, but it really does start with your own grind, yo. And it also takes some money, too. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. A lot of people be like, oh, yeah. Nah, yo, this shit costs money to get it done. But you can hustle it and you can do it. Shout out to Scarlett. Everybody's talking about her. She's a perfect example. You can get people to back you up if you go hard enough, but you do need money to get past that 90% that's out there that got no play.
For sure. Nah, that's good. Very, very good points. Consequence, I got a question for you. And, you know, if you don't mind, give me a quick synopsis, from the beginning. How did you even get to work with people like Kanye, or Tribe Called Quest? You know, tell the audience if they might already know, but.
Well, quickly, I started rapping as a teenager. I kind of used it as a coping mechanism. When my grandmother died, she died of leukemia. And I said this on Drink Champs. I had a friend of mine who I used to dance with, and his brother rapped, and he was a little older than us, so his brother was like 16, 17, and he got killed in an alley in a drug deal back in like '89. So the deaths were like within the same time frame, and so initially that was the thing to do. It was 1989. The Central Park Five had got arrested. The streets was crazy, and crack was running rampant in New York, and you know, hip hop was the outlet. Was basically the therapist couch, so to speak. You know what I mean? You just go home, and I just go home and just start writing about things that was happening outside. You know what I mean? Whether I was from Queens, and that was the same time where Ed Burns had got murdered, and they were doing the crackdowns and all that shit. And so TNT was like running up in a Chinese restaurant. We be playing Sprint and shit. Motherfuckers had crack in the quarter slots and shit. You know what I mean? So that's where my story began. It began on Linda Boulevard, and for those who don't know, me and Q-Tip are cousins, and we were living the same experience. And he was fortunate enough to get a record deal at 18, and they put out low-end People's Instinctive Travels. In '89, they had El Segundo, and then Benita Applebaum hit, and then it kind of like spawned into a Tribe Called Quest, and they formed the Native Tongues with the Jungle Brothers, who they went to school with, and they met De La Soul in their travels, and with Queen Latifah and everything that Shakim and them were doing in Jersey, they all just kind of started forming a clique or whatever. So fortunately, I had that was a platform for me when I got my chops up. I battled Run and Spank G one night on Linda Boulevard, and word got back to my cousin, and he was like, all right, let's see what you got there. And so they gave me the opportunity to be on the Chase Part 2, which was the B-side of the World Tour single, and it played on 98.7, which gave Q-Tip some more incentive to start looking to invest in me, because they were platinum at the time. So it was like, they went from everything that they're describing, like doing the meet and greets with the DJs and going overseas and doing the promo tours and opening up for whoever. You know what I mean? And they were signed to Jive Records back then, and Jive had a really strong radio department. Eric Skinner was like one of those guys back then. And so once they started making records that could kind of start going to radio, Jive was strong with radio. They had the Fresh Prince, they had Karis, when they had R. Kelly, they had a gang of urban shit as an indie, which is there's not a lot of those right now, but they were very unique. Or they were like an indie major hybrid back then because they were banked by a South African hedge fund.
Investor? Oh, hedge fund. Wow.
Yeah. Barry Weiss, the South African Barry Weiss. He had that bag. So long story short, after I did the Chase Part 2, I went and did my own demos. Q-Tip saw that, and he shot me around. He shot me to Puff, and Puff had the Craig Mack and Biggie, and Puff had heard the record that we did, and he wanted to sign me, and that's how essentially I ended up in Tribe, and I ain't looked back after that. I mean, I was only supposed to do 2 records on Beach Rhymes of Life.
Too?
Huh?
You produce as well, right?
Now, yeah. Back
okay.
then, I just was rapping, so
Okay.
I had to learn how to count bars and shit like that back then. I was just like, it just energy, Like I said, it's people selling crack outside, not a town away. Outside is a dead body outside. So that would motivate so many of us, It motivated Nels, it motivated Mr. Cheeks, it motivated Large Professor, it motivated Mike Geronimo, it motivated many. That was our fire escape to get out the hood, or at least leave the hood for a little while and come back. So, like I said, and with that hunger and desire, I wound up on 8 records. I had my first hit record with Tribe, was Stressed Out. Like I said, even with Job and knowing that, and I'm speaking that because their job is really, I didn't know that because I was a street rapper. I didn't know how important their job was till I got to Stressed Out. Because everything else was just hot verse. I got hot verse, you know what I mean? Yo, throw the beat on, son. You know what I mean? Air this shit out. But when we got to what's the chorus, then it was like, what is the chorus, right? But fortunately, I listened to Anita Baker, and I sung that shit, and we wound up making Stressed Out. I listened to Anita Baker the day I was going to the studio, and I freestyled it, and me and Q-Tip flipped that shit, and then we got Faith Evans to sing it. And that was the first time I understood the power of the industry at 19, 20, I had a record that was spinning 12,000 times a week. And I was like, how the fuck did that shit happen?
So you started looking into the business side of things.
Yeah,
like
and then I started understanding that,
right.
well, they're the radio promotion staff, and they need you to do 100 drops, right? You're going to have to sit here, right, 200, because it's playing 12,000 times. That means everybody who's playing that shit wants you to introduce the shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's the part that, now we know, but even then there was a little bit of uncharted territory. So like I said, with that turning the curve thing, you begin to understand like, all right, well then there's this whole other side to this shit that's the part that determines whether you built to be a star or not. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, guys be like, I don't want to do that shit, and, I'm lit, nigga, I'm trying to fuck some, and, give me a drink. You know what I mean? But it's really, it's whether it's your team, like, let's say, like a Scarlett right now, like, it's probably like her team putting the push behind it. Everybody who's fucking with you is banking that this is going to come back pregnant. You know what I'm saying? It's going to come back double, you know what I'm saying? Or that way we can make other moves or do it again. If you only do it once, you won and you done. So
it's a lot of work because the fans depend on that, right? Like they want
before
that,
you even get to the fans though, to get noticed, it's going like to their point, it's gonna take 20 people, right? So either somebody is lending. Everybody's either. This is how this shit goes. I can tell you straight up. I ain't gonna bullshit y'all. I'm here. I ain't gonna even waste my own time. Check this out. It's gonna either go like this, right? Either you coming out your pockets, or somebody coming out their pockets and they want their motherfucking money back, or they want their motherfucking money and their time back.
Yep.
That's it. That's the end of it. So the only way they're gonna get their money or their time back is paperwork. Not no handshake shit unless your bag is like that in the street. So if you trying to do this shit to get on, like the only way to get it is to get to the bank to front everybody for paying for that shit, and then everybody who got fronted for got to get hit. They got to get hit back. Right. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, so when it comes to those things like the drops and showing up to the shoots and that's when it's actually. It's more than a job, it's a career. The difference between a job and a career is something that you want to do. A job is something that you have to do to pay your bills. So when you start looking at your career like a job, you're looking through the wrong lens because this is what you asked for. You told everybody you was nice. You told everybody you was lit. You that nigga, this should be, or you the chick in the hood, you should be the one. Right. Everybody trying to front on you and they wait till they see. Well, all right. So then once you show them, now that's when the real work starts, because now niggas wanna eat. The wolves, it's still wolves. It's just, it's a corner office. It's a cubicle, not the corner. You feel me? So,
yeah. No, that's a lot of real information, you know, and like, just everything you're saying. Me being a fan of hip hop.
I fuck a round of applause. Thank you.
Definitely a round of applause. Definitely a round of applause. And it's history, right? And I appreciate it because I moved to the United States in '95 from Eastern Europe. I don't even speak English, but somehow I got into hip hop. Right. So everything you're telling me, plus being able to understand what really behind the scenes, that's huge. And it's huge to everybody here, and it's just very.
Well, and I'm saying it because I'm assuming, based on what everybody I'm looking at, it's they're probably the generation or two after me.
Yeah.
So the experience for us in urban is, you know, especially like for my age, right? We look at you guys like, I know me, I look at y'all like, please do this shit. Please. Do you know how many fucking bullets I duck personally just to fucking be able to get? See, sometimes in this social age, it's the easy thing to do is to speak quickly and not process, right? So you when you do that, what you eliminate is journey, right? You eliminate what it took for all of us to be able to just say, yo, I might not have to get a fucking job. I could do this shit for real. There was a time when this shit wasn't for real. Or there was a time where you had to really give up everything to do this shit. Like my cousin, they had to give their publishing up to do this, right? It's gone. It's 30 years later, we gotta do other things to get the money. Right. But we could get the money though.
And let me ask you this: was there a lot of stuff like this, like were people giving out the knowledge,
no,
the business process like that?
Nah,
no.
You dead. Get it how you live and live how you get it. Right, Nels? Come on. Yeah. This look. He used to work for G Unit, right?
Yep.
Listen, at one time, 50 Cent didn't have it. 50 Cent didn't have a deal. He was boo-boo around my way, right? Had a 190E Benz and a hammer in there, right? He got a crack pack, whatever he was doing, 1, 2, and 3, right? Now, this man had signed to JMJ, right? Jam Master J, God bless the dead, signed to Jam Master J, then went to the Track Masters, right? Then hit the streets after that when the wall got put up, right? Then got shot for saying his piece about the shit. Then had to hit the Ave with his own jewel cases, right? This is everything that G Unit had to do, right? Because even though everybody knew his pen was lit, everybody knew he should have been up next after How to Rob. At the end of the day, the politics superseded his pocket. So he had to take the ingenuity of flipping every. The thing is, like, we was having the intellectual property conversation and the infringement thing, right? So 50 Cent might have been AI first. He was motherfucking taking everybody's shit and just got me a bottle. He was doing all that shit to get on. And honestly, that's the right of the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the right of that's the right that we have. It. That's our reparation in hip hop. Like, we can take whatever and get to it. You know what I'm saying? Out of necessity, right? Now, obviously, when you get to that, and that's why I said, as as you grow with hip hop, your business is supposed to grow with it, so you got to move in accordance. You know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, when 50 got to the bag and he got to the deal, he, to his credit, took everything that he infringed on and said, "Yo, you know what? I'm gonna legitimize all this. I'm gonna put all." 50 Cent had the last office in New York City where you could go off the street and go get a check.
That's big. And I encourage everybody, at least I really like the book, Get Richer. It's not Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter, the book that he wrote. You know, a lot of it, like, just the way, you know, to what you're talking about. Like, in the beginning, he had to do what he had to do, but as he understood how to move his mind in the corporate rooms and all of that, you know.
Well,
so,
we always got to remember the thing that I think, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to pass it to Kast, but I think another thing that we always need to remember is that this is New York City, right? And sometimes we get so caught up with what Atlanta is doing and what Miami is doing and what LA is doing. Man, this is New York City. This is where you could turn lemons into lemonade and shit into sugar. You know what I mean? And it's almost your job to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? We New Yorkers, yo. All of us. I don't care what borough you from. We New Yorkers, and we never supposed to be in a position, like, to 50's credit. You know what I'm saying? Even to 50 and Murder Inc.'s credit. Like, at the end of the day, even with Irv, you know what I mean? Like, I'm from Queens, so I know I grew up firsthand watching both sides. You know what I'm saying? Like, Irv, to his credit, like, yo, he took his resources. Jay was his man. X was his man, and he had John the cut, and listen, we all seen Russell drive. We all seen Russell or Joey or Daryl, that's Run DMC and the Simmons family. We all seen them. You know what I mean? And that was, how we gonna see DMC coming through in a Lincoln and not go get one? Like, that ain't how New York work, and we gotta really, and that's why I'm just sharing this information, because I don't know how many of y'all might have seen that and not seen it, but I'm telling you, this New York City, and it's a city where you could do whatever you need to do to get on.
Right. No, he's absolutely right. I got a question for Kast One, too. And for me, as a foreign kid coming from Eastern Europe, New York represents land of opportunity. Like, that, the city, the skyline itself, I mean, I'm not playing, it's like so dear to my heart, because this is the first city that I landed in the West world. And it's I don't know, it's the energy, everything that, you know, inspired me to do what I do. I always say this on a lot of my videos, you guys are lucky to be here, not because of the size of the market, because people that, you know, laid the groundwork and they're still here, you know what I'm saying? Like, constantly, because you're still here in New York City. Every one of you guys are still here. And I'm only saying that because I currently live in the DMV in Baltimore, and I try to do the music business there, but there really is no business there, you know what I'm saying? Because the artists that get signed, like Wale, or, you know, Mario out of Baltimore, like even Cisco and them, all of that, they usually go out of the city. They end up either in New York, LA, or Nashville. So you just being here, you just have so much more advantage, in my opinion, than the artists in Baltimore, in North Dakota, or anywhere else in the country, you know what I mean? Because of the fact that you guys are still here and you support it that way. So, Kast One, I got a question for you, because I went through your Instagram. I really respect what you're doing in terms of, like, just everything, right? But I seen that you were pushing the 1800 tequila. Oh. And I just want to ask you, and other stuff, like, do you do any brand deals with?
That was a check.
Right. No, exactly. And that's why I'm bringing it up, because, you know, a lot of ways artists or DJs or producers make money as well in this industry, is endorsement deals and sponsorships. So if you could touch on that, I think it'll be super helpful for everybody here. Like, how do you even get a brand like that to talk to you, or, like, how did that come about?
Well, I mean, there's certain different ways that you can get brands to talk to you. First of all, the first thing is that you have to be in tune with that brand. Like, you have to have something that it's always a give and take, right? They want something, and you're gonna be like, all right, well, if you want that, you have to pay for it, right? So basically, brands will come search. There's two ways. One, a brand will come searching for you, which is the easy way. Then it's the hard way, when you actually have to reach out to these brands and sell yourself, right? So when you sell yourself, you have to have a good idea of what you represent and what you can bring to that brand, right? So you kind of have to, like, build a deck and have a sort of presentation. A lot of people have, like, other people doing it for them, So that's great, but some of us don't have that luxury, so you have to kind of like, listen, we learned this. All right, I'm gonna give you a perfect example, right? And to one thing Kans was talking about getting out the mud, right? In New York, as a DJ, the biggest thing when I was coming up was mixtapes, right? Mixtapes are just a brand, bro. It's a brand. A mixtape is, when you have mixtapes and you drop a mixtape constantly, you're branding yourself, you're promoting yourself, you're marketing yourself. So you're doing, as a DJ, you're sales, marketing, promotions, brand manager, you're all of that. A lot of people don't see that, but it is what you are. And even as artists, essentially from in the beginning, that's what you are, and that's what you have to be successful. You can't just get on a song and rap and think it's just gonna go, right?
Right.
Every artist you look at, they're a whole, whether you might respect the brand or not, they all stand for something. They all pitch something in particular and have something that makes them themselves, right?
Right. There's a charisma or a story behind it. That
Right,
people respect
charisma, a
and fall in love
story,
with.
a look, a sound.
Yep.
But they're all brands. So no matter what you look, 50 Cent's a brand, Jay-Z is a brand, T.I. is a brand. You know what I'm saying? Ice Spice is a brand, Cardi B is a brand, Nicki Minaj is a brand. When you see these people, you hear these names, you think of something. You might, if you really stop and you think about it, you go, when somebody says Nicki Minaj, you have 3-4 thoughts in your head right away. Boom. I know this, I know that, I know that. Drake, I know this, I know that, I know that, right? So they're really brands, and when it comes to brand partnerships, that's all it is. The big brands, like any type of, they're trying to sell anything, they want to partner up, whether it's Nike, whether it's, you see Kans here with Stadium Goods, whether it's Stadium Goods, whether it's whoever, they know that they want to align their brand with yours, right? So it has to kind of make sense, too. Like, obviously, Aston Martin is not going to do a deal with Soulja Boy. It's not going to happen. But Bape will, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like what it is when it comes to brands.
Because the brand kind of looks at who's your audience.
Right.
We can reach out to, right? Because for a brand, it'd be stupid to, like, I'm just going to make some shit up off the top of my head. Barbie dolls. Why would the Barbie doll brand or like a toy brand want to work with, a DJ?
Right,
Unless you're DJing for 7-year-olds.
Right. If you're a club DJ and you're every night in a club, you're DJing parties, of course, liquor brands, it makes sense for a liquor brand to want to partner up with a DJ to be like, hey, listen, when you're doing your shows, when you're doing your parties, when you're doing whatever, have the bottle by you, you know what I'm saying? Spread some love, show everybody, oh here, try this tequila. This tequila is good tequila or whatever. But at the same time, you always have to be aware of who you're branding with, right?
Yep.
Because no disrespect, I'm not gonna brand with Smirnoff. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's always like 50 had the no, y'all laughing, but it's real talk, right? It's real talk. Like,
50
if you're gonna get a sneaker, you're gonna get a sneaker deal. You're gonna do a sneaker deal with Payless, or you're gonna want one with Nike, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's really that same type of thing. So you have to kind of like pick and choose.
How you did the thing on Instagram because it was Christmas time.
Right.
Like now that I'm following you, if I would have seen that going to a Christmas party, I love tequila myself. Like the only 2 liquors now that I got older I can enjoy straight is like either a good ass tequila or a cognac. So if I go to a Christmas party and I see that bottle, you're like, yo, what are you gonna bring to Christmas? And it's a good bottle. That would have probably made me run to the liquor store, and be like, oh, talk to my wifey and say, hey, we gotta get something. I'm getting that, and it works. So you did it well,
Yeah, absolutely.
That's dope. No, I think that's good information. So what I want to do now, give a round of applause for that. Mixed by Gabriel. I think what we should do is do 2 artists, and then we're gonna keep it going. So like I was telling you guys before, I kind of had this idea of like mixing Shark Tank and American Idol into like one thing. So we're gonna do 2 artists back to back right now, but they're gonna have 1 minute to pitch their brand. I'm always interested to see how they pitch their brand. What do they say? If you're like, yeah, I'm the man, I rap, or like they're gonna talk about like something else that's maybe useful to you guys, and then they're gonna do 1 song. So I tell everybody in the email, you better pick your best project. Hopefully it's out. That's another thing we're gonna see, because hey, if you guys are here and you hear it, pull your phones out, support them, Shazam it. It's good for their algorithm as well. If you rock with the song, and Mixed by Gabriel, he picks some good songs. Like we get a lot of submissions. 99 of the artists that submit don't necessarily make it go through. So let's go ahead and do that and give the first artist the floor.
Can you up the mic? All right, so the first artist we have, the artists are over here, by the way, everyone, just so you guys know. This is the booth. So the first artist is Mars DeVille. And he is going to be pitching his brand to the panel. And then I will play his song, which is called 6'4". So, Matei, are you gonna keep track of the time? Okay, cool. So, oh, he has a buzzer too. So yeah, you're gonna have a minute to pitch your brand. Uh-oh, it just got real.
Check.
So you got 1 minute. I'm gonna time you, and then after that, you're gonna get the.
All right, thank you. My name is Mars DeVille. The Mars.
All right, let's get it.
Mars is an acronym for Man Attacking Revolutionary Success. The DeVille stands for the Cadillac DeVille. As you can see, I got my hat on. I'm a big Cadillac, old soul type of person. I love the old school. I love the new school. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm a Brooklyn-based artist who started in about 2019. I've been rapping for like 7-10 years, but I started taking seriously around the protests, the George Floyd and the Ahmaud Arbery murders. I felt it was important for me to tackle those issues. I feel like music is about the content. I know the mainstream is filled with like a bunch of, mixed bullshit kind of that's out there right now, but I'm here to tackle the actual real issues. I consider myself a very versatile artist who can also tackle, the trendy issues while also attacking the trendy beats and the sounds that are floating throughout the air right now. I went to college in St. John, so I'm very influenced by J. Cole and everything.
All right,
Appreciate you, my man. All right,
Thank you,
let's
thank
get
you.
to the
I
song.
appreciate
Let's get to the song.
Let's get it.
One song. Let's see what you got.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6'4", Mars DeVille. Put your motherfucking hands up. Let's go.
When you up, they praying on your downfall. When you up, they praying on your downfall. Why you salty like you walking through a sandstorm? Is it cause I'm gripping money like a fastball? If you wasn't worried about mine, could've had yours. I ain't stressing nothing small, what do that for? I know the Lord got my back, having task force. Set me up for higher heights for being 6'4". Yeah. Torches and pitchforks, they after me. Travesty, wizard but king with a majesty. Don't work with a clipboard, bitch boy on salary. Freelance clarity, left my job, now they mad at me. Necessary, had to leave him, not get charged with felony battery. Made a move for me and finally I'm moving happily. God could've stopped me, but he the one who set this path for me.
Lord dang, God in my fucking life, I got nothing. Time I want everybody to let's go.
When you up, they praying on your downfall. When you up, they praying on your downfall. Why you salty like you walking through a sandstorm? Is it cause I'm gripping money like a fastball? If you wasn't worried about mine, could've had yours. I ain't stressing nothing small, what do that for? I know the Lord got my back, having task force. Set me up for higher heights for being 6'4". And saying prayers, saving face when there's a tragedy. I'm not a man who doesn't sin, not what we blasphemy. I transform these gifts to gold, no alchemy. I'm shifting my whole mentality. Can't bite my tongue when people have audacity. My pride come and teach them like academies. My wife, son, and daughter need a man who gon' lead. At your highest point, careful devils love your peak. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Dope stuff. All right. So, without further ado, we're gonna hear from the panelists as far as quality of the song, performance, just touch on what you guys think of the music.
Me personally, I love the quality of the song. The production is tight. I like the subject matter. I don't have to talk about the thing he did before the song, right? I don't have to. Okay. One thing I will say is my negative on it would be you have to get to it a little bit faster because the attention span of a hip hop artist is the same way you look at your timeline on Instagram. Even if it comes down to you making a record and putting the right punchline just so people can see it real quick and say, oh shit, he's saying something. So for me, as much as I love the music, to break through, you're gonna have to do things like that. Once you break through, you can do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? So just take that into consideration, especially if you're a current listener of everything else that goes on in hip hop. You know what I mean? So.
How many songs have you made?
I just kind of started recording like professionally, but I have like 300 songs. Like I work at home, I work from a home studio, and then I use those as reference tracks, and then I go over to Gabe's studio, and I make the tracks that I think are gonna be the best. Obviously, as an artist, you're gonna make fucking hundreds of songs, but I'm slimming them down and trying to make a mixtape and an album. These songs are from about 3 years till now. So yeah, I have a good amount of content, and I make music on the daily too as well at home. So it's like an ongoing basis of music for sure.
Yeah, I still think there's a lot of room to grow. I think that, you got the confidence. I like the pitch and everything. I didn't really hear what you said in the pitch and the music in this song, in terms of like the revolutionary music and everything, but that's okay. But I do think there's still a lot of room to grow. I think if I was you, I would film that growth. We're living in a place where going live and as you're going through it, you can have your fans, your community grow with you, and you should do that. But
I plan to do like sorry to interrupt, but I plan to do like a Freestyle Friday. I'm a big freestyle artist, so I plan to do like digital creative videos. I just came out with a song, Wintertime Blues, a couple months ago that I had a digital video for on Instagram and on all platforms, on YouTube. So I plan to do a lot of that. I plan to do a lot of visuals with myself, but also have like animated creative visuals that go along with the song, because I really fuck with that type of shit. But yeah, for sure.
Well, my thing is just keep going.
Yeah,
Keep sharpening the steel and getting tight.
I ain't stopping.
It's a long journey.
For sure.
Khan said 30 years. It's a journey.
Yeah.
But you got to keep getting better.
For sure. I hope so.
So I definitely think I'd rather give advice than critique. I think that one of the most important things you need to do for that song in particular is shoot a video for it. And make it as creative as possible. Don't have any boundaries. Whatever you can afford to do it, and just be the person you are in it, right? Because I think that type of record, if that's the one that you're gonna perform, people gotta, people, to their point, right? People digest immediately and disperse, right? So, there's you, there's the song, there's the vision. I think the best way to capture it, like I wish you would have had the video playing, because then I would have really understood what the bop was in totality. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, all right, I see you got it, your swag is your shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you got up and did your shit. So I think you got to get the visual to people so that they could automatically lock right in. You know what I'm saying? When you got to take time to lock it in, then it's valuable time that should be just focused on what niggas already seen, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, this the nigga who do this right here. It's like the Far Side. Like, when I first seen them niggas shit, by the time I seen them perform, I was like, already like, yo, these niggas be doing some ill shit. You know what I'm saying? Because when you gonna be in that kind of where you rocking your shit the way you got your shit on, you gotta show niggas this how I do my shit. This how I do all my shit. You know what I'm saying? That's my advice.
I love it. Thank you, Consequence. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I like it. By the way, as soon as you stood up, I was like, all right, he's unapologetically you. You know what I'm saying? Just by your style.
Thank you, bro.
You could feel that in the music. You could feel it in the song. So that's not an easy thing to do, to be able to come through the track just being yourself. Like, every word you said on that track, I could tell that you wasn't like, You was just speaking from you. So that's very important. And also you displayed a lot of good flows on there and a lot of good melodies too. So you know what I'm saying? Like they said, you know, it's always a long road, but you never know, it could go quick. It could be, next thing you know, lights on, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta be ready for everything. But what you're doing right now, keep doing that, because that's gonna take you the long way. Just being unapologetically you on the songs. You feel me?
Thank you, guys.
And I like that
Appreciate
Kast
you.
One jacket. That shit's fire.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you.
All right.
No, for sure, we're gonna go to the next one. And just thank you for all that feedback. We should have probably played the video. I just want you guys to know, as the budget grows for us and we get some TVs up here, the goal is to play the video if the artists have it. Yeah, so, you know, but the feedback is much appreciated. So it was more about the music, but you got a video for it? See, so he wouldn't even, I don't even know if he would have picked that song then to help you out. Nah, but now you got some footage. You could, yeah, that was good. Because that's what we aim to do, you know what I'm saying? Because if you had the video in the background, it gives you more about the brand and like the whole...
The thing is, like, I just was at like I was in Atlanta yesterday, right? And I just was at a joint where they was doing like a showcase, and you know, it does make a difference when there's this surround vision to the package, right? Where you can just see the whole thing. We use all 5 senses to absorb everything, right? So we want to see it, we want to feel it, we want to know what it, you know what I mean? Like it's like, this is your intellectual property, like at this point, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you wanna get the whole shit, or like all of it. I see it's there though. Like that's why I was just saying, like the next thing you should do is just really shoot the video. Just like it's a bunch of niggas on Instagram, just DM niggas like, yo, Duke, I got 500, nigga, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Do the edit and all that shit, nigga. Just sit with me for like 2 weeks. Don't rush neither. This the rest of your life. Just do that shit. You know what I mean? Just nigga get a nigga. Like I'm telling you, trust me. This is a nigga on there. Nigga take $300, nigga. That nigga, I give you 300 and whatever else you need on the side, nigga. You know what I mean?
All right.
Next
So the next artist is Spaz V. And he's over there in the middle booth, and he will be pitching his brand for a minute, followed by a song called...
Yeah, what's up, man? How's everybody?
All right, Spaz V.
How to step? What's up?
1 minute.
What's up?
Let's go, my man.
All right, man. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Spaz V, VZ Bands. You feel me? I'm from the Bronx. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna sit up here and say respectfully, I got a new genre, a new wave.
Stand up, brother.
I got
so
a
we can see
new
you.
genre, a new sway right now. Basically, I'm the founder of this Bronx, well, New York to Detroit, Cali. You feel me? I'm tapped in with a lot of the Detroit, Cali artists, you feel me? I'm basically gonna set the tone right now, you feel me? Hip-hop is in the state where we're looking for a new sound, you feel me? We in New York, like they said earlier, you feel me? So basically, I'm here, my job is to bring that sound back, but also, I wanna have people dance. You know, the culture's been very violent lately, you feel me? So I wanna get back to the New York sound, which originally is us dancing and having fun. Even if it's violent, it's like, we gonna have fun, we gonna turn up, and we gonna do this shit, you feel me? The New York way, you feel me? I'm from the Bronx, you feel me? Straight like that, you feel me? Yeah, I'm done. That pitch is over.
Let's go. Drop the song. You have 5 seconds left.
Let's
Good
get
shit.
it. Let's get
Go
it.
ahead, Justin.
Yeah. Everybody put your phones up. You're gonna rock with this one. Yeah. Uh-huh. Spaz V. When I step in to show you how to do it in my own lane, with my own groove, got my own style. I do my own move. You said, oh my mama, I can show you how to step. Left foot right foot left. Throw your hood up, show 'em what you rep. Let's just get it. He said, I can show you how to do it. He said, I can show you how to step. He said, when I step in to show you how to do it in my own lane, with my own groove, got my own style. I do my own moves. You said, oh my mama, I can show you how to step. Left foot right foot left. Throw your hood up, now show 'em what you rap. Let's get it. He said, I can show you how to do it. He said, I can show you how to step. He said, time to get jiggy on the beat. I ain't worried about that silly shit that they speak. With my own sound, I guarantee this shit in town. When I'm doing shows, yeah, they love me in the crowd. Bad little bitty show until you get wild. I'm from the Bronx, but I know that you like my style. Yeah, you like my style. I'm checking. He said, look at you shaking all crazy. I think I got half on a baby. You could be my boo, but you cannot be my lady. Shorty look good when she hop out the Mercedes. Honey pack it all the day. Yeah, she was trying to rape me. Said, I'm the one. I ain't talking about regretting. Got no time for these niggas. They be moving all janky. I ain't in that kitty little bitty cause it's stinky. When I step in and show you how to do it in my own lane, with my own groove. Let's go. Turn up on my mama, I can show you how to step. Left foot right, right foot left. So you hold up, let's go. Say it with me, I can show you how to do it, let's get it. He said, I can show you how to step. He said, when I step in and show you how to do it in my own lane, with my own groove. Got my own style, I do my own moves. She said, my mama, I can show you how to step. Left foot right, right foot left. So you hold up, show 'em what you rap, let's get it. I can show you how to do it. I'm from the Brook, let's get it, make some noise. Show you how to step. Can't walk in my shoes and I'm
Give me a round of applause.
Let's get it. Like he said, side eye for these saying they gon' do something to me. I told them why lie. Switch lanes, you're born in town, nigga doing big things. Everybody rapping, all these niggas sound the same. In my own lane, if we got an issue, put a nigga on the chain. 2K, EA Sports, I'm in the game. I'm a street fighter, yoga spitter with some flames. Hopping out the whip, true religion on 2 chains. Boy, yeah, finna start a riot. Niggas moving wacky, gotta watch him when he quiet. Make the wrong move, guarantee this nigga die. Let's go, when I step finna show you how to do it, Let's go. Put your hands up, put your hands up. Let's go, mama, I can show you how to step. Left foot right, right foot left. So you hold up, now show 'em what you rep, let's go. I can show you how to do it. I can show you how to do it. When I step in and show you how to do it in my own lane, with my own groove. Got my own style, I do my own moves. On my mama, I can show you how to step. Left foot right, right foot left. Throw your hood up, now show what you run. Let's get it. I can show you how to do it. I can show you how to step. Hey yo, Instagram, Spaz V, VZ Bands. Thank you, man. Yeah. Let's get it.
Nice, round of applause.
Wow.
Yeah, I hope you're on TikTok, man. That could be the next teach you how to Dougie.
I ain't
haven't
gonna
heard
lie,
nothing
I
like
got
that
some.
in a while.
Hold on, I got some shit. I ain't gonna lie, I got like at least like my bad gang. I got
No,
some
go ahead.
shit. If y'all fucking with that how to step, I got some shit. I ain't gonna lie. That's what I'm gonna say. That's what I'm
So
gonna say.
let's
Word.
hear from the panelists as far as what they thought. I mean, me personally, I felt the energy from over here.
You my nigga, man. I fuck with you for life.
You know what I mean?
Word.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy to work a room.
Yeah, you worked it.
when
Especially in a little
when
tight,
they haven't heard the
close
record
space.
before.
Nah, this record right here finna take off, man. It's platinum right here, baby. Like,
Nah, it's
yeah.
very. I'm very impressed by your performance.
Appreciate it.
I really like the record.
Thank you.
And I like pretty much just getting to it and
See him
keeping
over
it
here
as
sweating
simple
and
as
shit.
possible. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
just try to,
So
try to work.
definitely, one thing I do want to tell like up and coming artists is, I know you record at home or wherever you record at. I know you may use a cheap mic or a good mic. I know you're excited about recording the record. When you finish it, there's a thing called demo-itis, that meaning you knock the record out and it sounds good to you, but to the people around you, the record may not sound good. I'm very big on quality because at the end of the day, your record has to perform against everything else is out there. So, but I that's just another
We
conversation.
got those
but-
mastered. All the records is mastered. That
Yeah,
was
no,
just
I'm
like
not
the
talking about
MP3
your
control.
record.
Yeah, that's crucial. Though. That's a
yeah.
very if people are looking for that. So if you got scratches in the back, or if you got like any type of like audio drops, or if you got like you banging the mic while you because sometimes it happens. It's just like you gotta fix that. Just make sure it's perfect or it's mastered, it's cleared. So even if we hear it, it's not as bad. Because if you perform it, nobody really cares about it. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I love the record. I love
you.
your confidence. I think it's a
Appreciate
good record. I was just saying that as a side note because a lot of people record at home and their whole thing is to make the best record possible. But sound-wise, you want to make sure you got the approval of a DJ, the approval of a manager. Be like, nah, it sounds good.
Facts.
And then after that, good to mastering and mixing and mastering part.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it says something because the room got into the record.
Hey man, it's
You
the how to
know, which
step,
was
man. We're
good.
teaching them how to step.
I think it's a viral thing, that you got to sort of run with. maybe the local DJs from around your way in the BX or whatever?
I got a couple people that have been trying to, like, I ain't gonna lie, everything y'all said earlier, I was soaking in like a sponge. So it's crazy that y'all said that, because that was, like, crucial, because in this game, a lot of people be thinking, like, you gotta, like, just do it by yourself, but you gotta actually build your team. Like, so I got a dude named DJ Clutch from Harlem. You feel me? He actually, I've been working, I ain't gonna lie, I'm outside. You feel me? I just did a record, I just did a performance in Brooklyn. You feel me? He actually mixed the record, like, kinda like, that was the original version, but he kinda, like, remixed it. So it was like a chicken noodle soup on like that DJ Webstar mix with that. So we just layers and experimenting with different sounds and stuff like that. Before as a DJ, it's crucial.
So yeah, I think social campaign is good.
Appreciate you, gang.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with CL. I think definitely, you know, the chorus is definitely catchy. You definitely perform.
Appreciate you, gang.
You know what I mean? I think to Nelson's point, I think you have more of a, like just here, I don't know, I haven't heard it outside, so in fairness, I don't want to judge the mix or the mastering, but I think just the performance, you were way over the music, you know what I'm saying? And so with that just would be received as, well, maybe they need to tweak the mix or tweak the mastering, because I couldn't hear the vocals to the joint versus his joint. You know what I'm saying? I heard all you, but I couldn't hear I did want to hear it to see how you was bouncing with it. You know what I'm saying? I got all your shit, and the thing is, just like these are nuances that just, it's 2 more weeks, or it's 1 week, or it's 48 hours. You know what I'm saying? But if you get that shit right, you'll be doing this shit for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes it takes you stepping away from it and just giving it a alien listen, right? Like, it's not my shit, it's somebody else's, but it's me, right? So I listen to it, and like with my shit, with Kanye shit, when I help him with his shit, we step off from that shit, we come back to it like, damn, we could get the bass darker. You know what I'm saying? We could make the kick hit harder. Niggas did the stronger drums for 4 months, but he could do stronger right now for $1 million, right? Just stronger. Not fuck the rest of that shit. That's the investment in the sound, right? Like, you as a performer, the rap shit is one thing. You know what I'm saying? But the music and the production value is the real investment in the industry. That's the shit that's gonna allow your record to move in any venue. Any way you play your shit, it's supposed to ring like shit on the radio. You know what I mean?
Facts.
No matter who and it doesn't even matter. The best thing for you to do right now, honestly, is get a nigga who's trying to just got out of IAR, whatever the fuck that shit is. Get that nigga and keep that nigga the way Drake did 40. Keep that nigga for the rest of y'all life, right? And just let that nigga perfect your sound. And you good. You gonna do the rap shit. I see you, nigga. You stepping. I see you,
man.
nigga.
Appreciate you, gang. Hell yeah, man. Thank you.
I just want to say, everything they just said, that's the easy part. You already got the hard part. Cause that hook and that just the energy of the song, I still got that shit playing in my head right now. It's playing over and over and over. Right, teach you how to step. That's cause as a DJ, that's the first thing I look for. I look for the beat and the hook, cause I know that's what's gonna move everything. Right, the beat and the hook. Everything else obviously is important also, but when you're looking for, like, I want to say commercial success, or you want your record to go, is those 2 parts are very important and very difficult to catch. Because even Kast, when he was telling the story about Stressed Out, when it comes to the hook, that's it's something simple, but it's very difficult to get a good hook that people remember.
It's mad barbarians out here, niggas that bar you to fucking death, right? And they not going on the radio at all.
Me personally,
niggas ain't going on the radio. They ain't even going on TikTok. That shit ain't happening. Them niggas go to Instagram and do that shit on their reel, right? But if you want this nigga to play your shit with Ebro and them, then nigga gotta be like dun dun dun. Ba, ba, ba.
It's crazy, not to cut y'all off, but I did Biggie Day 5. I don't know if y'all in tune with my dog Mikey Phelps, but we did Biggie Day 5. Basically, we're for the culture. For me, shout out to my boy. We basically for the culture. So the Biggies is a staple in New York. You feel me? If you was somebody back in the day, you had the big. You know, it was a big popularity thing. So we made it to where we did a whole event. You feel me? Everybody was performing, and I performed, and that was my first time because I took a hiatus as far as with the music. I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't even jacking it. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just work, and then. You know, I started getting back in the studio maybe like last March. I was cooking. I was doing like 5, 6, 7 songs a month. And then, you know, I had a plan. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna record. And then a new year, I'm gonna just start like booking shows and just performing and just grinding. So I've been doing shows, but like January, we started off like, you feel me, with Biggie Day 5. It was turned up. We had the city on lock. That shit was crazy. And then every month from there, I would tell myself like, you know what, I need to do something else. Like, even here, coming here, like, you feel me? I'm just like, every month I need to do something, keep myself, you know, momentum, keep it high, just have the people out there just know who I am, because we competing against mad other people. So,
Right.
yeah, man, I appreciate everybody that liked the record, man. You feel me? Like, it was love hearing from y'all, and just the whole experience. Just shout out to y'all. Y'all the real ones. Live in peace.
Cool. Want to give it props to everybody, you know, that performed. And he said, put it on TikTok. That's my biggest advice right there. And just quick question for the two of you. Is the song out everywhere? Is yours? All right. Good shit for you, because if Shazam changed the way they do things now, like back 2 years ago, if you put your track out for distribution 3 weeks ahead of time, your track was already Shazamable 2 weeks prior to release date. So you can go to DJs and people can Shazam it and then save it. They took that away. So now, if you got a chance to do a song in front of any crowd, I always recommend make sure the song is out. Because somebody, like, don't put a barrier between you and the fan. You put, you know, good song, but you put a barrier. Nobody can find it right now. Unless they follow you and all that. And I'm just saying that to what Nels said, the attention span is short, not because people are just, like, not able to pay attention. In my opinion, it's because we get drowned with content every day from everywhere you look. TikTok, Instagram, you go on the internet, you watch TV. So your attention is getting drowned. So for somebody to really be like, damn, I really like that, they got to spend all this energy to then find you and follow you and then find the record, and they find out, oh, the record wasn't even out. You know, and people generally in the beginning don't do that. You know what I'm saying? That's my advice. Yeah.
I'm just gonna give you a quick example. I remember, I want to say it's October, Kast, when Ice Spice came out. All right. So when Ice Spice dropped, You Thought I Was Feeling You, and it was super early on TikTok. Probably the only guy playing the record was Kast One on my left. The company had called me to work the record, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm watching it. Yeah, let's get it started. You know what I mean? Let's work this record. I really like it. And I have a stepdaughter who's a TikTok head. And I was like, hey, I want to talk to you about something. She said, what's up? And she goes, I say, you know, you're always doing TikToks. You know this record by Ice Spice? Is it hot to you? She's like, who the fuck is Ice Spice? Just like that. She said, I don't know who Ice Spice is. I said, you thought I was feeling you? Oh shit, that shit is hard. Like, that's a big record. Yo, it's big. What's her name again? I said, Ice Spice. So, you know, the tolerance level, especially to the youth, is totally different. You know what I mean? Just something for you guys to understand. You know what I mean?
No, 100% agree. And like, because I have a recording studio in Maryland as well, and I always, as I learn more about the structure of songs and all that, and you can look up on YouTube, I'm talking about not just hip hop songs, but pop records and all of that. The hook is called the hook because it hooks you to listen. But not only that, what I discovered with being able to work with a ton of artists and labels and looking at a lot of data, if the hook is strong and if somebody doesn't know your name, like Nels said, if they remember the hook, they should be able to run to Google or on their phone, type it in, and your song better come up. And if it doesn't, you just lost and all that initial attention that could have been given to you, the audience, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's a good transition into, I have a question for Kast One. We're gonna continue with a few more questions and then we're gonna do the last artist. But so, you know, looking at your Instagram, you obviously get to work with a lot of big artists, being on Ebro in the Morning and just, you know, throughout your career. I've definitely seen you, you know, working with Ice Spice and playing her records. But how do you find, like, as a DJ, because I've interviewed a bunch of DJs, how do you find or did you find Ice Spice before anybody else knew of her? Is that how like you actually helped her get out there? How do you find that record? And
Well, the
how do you
Ice
choose
Spice
your artist?
The Ice Spice story in particular is funny because I just randomly found that on YouTube. Like every day I wake up, the first thing I do, I go on YouTube. I look to see what's the trending records,
Boom.
what's hot, what's new, and just I would just be scrolling, just like everybody else, scrolling, blop, hitting it. And that's another thing with the initial thing. Boom, playing it 30 seconds, next. And I stumbled upon the Ice Spice video, one of her songs, and it caught me because of the sample, right? Because the sample was Goyote. I forgot the name of the artist, but it's that
Gautier.
It was a Gautier single, and I was like, the first thing I thought was like, how the hell did she clear this shit? That's the first thing I thought. I was like, how did it clear this? And I just hear I'm hearing the song, the beat. I'm like, yo, this beat is fire. This shit is great. And then she starts rapping, and I'm like, she's alright, but the beat is fire and the hook is fire. Fuck it, I'm gonna play this shit, right? That's exactly what happened. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I took the record off of YouTube and I started playing it on like early in the morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning, maybe, like just because I thought it was something cool. Girl from the Bronx. She was rapping. She wasn't rapping about shooting people, and the beat was cool. I was like, all right. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna play this, whatever. So as time goes on, I'm playing it for a couple of weeks, and then it just so happens that I get a text from now DJ Enough. I've known DJ Enough for years. DJ Enough was pivotal in my career, and he's like family. I look at him as Enough as like my stepdad, like family. Right. So I know his family, and I know his son from when his son was 2 years old. Like I know his son from 2 years old to whatever. So Enough's son texts me, and he goes, "Yo, man, thank you." And I'm like, he's like, "Thank you for playing Ice Spice." And I write back, "Okay, but why?" Okay. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I've been working with her. I produce all her beats. I produce her beats, and she's my artist." I'm like, what? I didn't even know he was a producer. I did not know. I had no idea he was a producer. I had no idea he was doing beats. It's Riot texts me, and he goes, "Yo,
his son.
He's Enough's son." And I know him since he's 3 years old.
Right.
But I didn't know I never knew he was I never knew he was making beats. He was making beats in the closet somewhere, so I don't know. So I'm like, wait, you did this beat? And he's like, yeah, I did that beat, and I did this one. He started sending me a whole bunch of her records, and I was like, oh, damn, all right, cool, y'all got something. This is actually kind of fire, right? So I call Enough. I'm like, yo, Enough, EJ, because that's his real name. I was like, yo, EJ's producing records for some girl in the Bronx, and the records are pretty good. And I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, he told me he told me he's working on something, but here's the crazy part. Usually, when something like this happens, right, if you have a family member that's in the industry and in the business and is like cemented in this thing, the first thing you're gonna do is go, yo, put me on. Enough goes to me, yeah, I know he's doing something, but he doesn't want me to participate in it at all because he wants to do it by himself.
Good for him.
And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I know he's been doing this with this girl, Ice Spice, but I don't play nothing. He don't ask me nothing. I don't tell him nothing. He wants to do it by himself. Now, mind you, Enough and his son have a really good relationship. It's not like they're estranged, it's not like they're estranged kids. Like, it's his son. It's every day. So I'm kind of bugging. I'm like, okay, well, he's doing a pretty good job, So I hit EJ. I'm like, yo, if you need any guidance or any ideas, or whatever, if you have questions, just hit me up and I'll let you know. He's like, nah, I'm cool, man. We're gonna figure it out. You know what I'm saying? We just want to thank you for the support, whatever. 3 months later, she's the biggest thing in the world. You know what I'm saying? And that's just all for them getting it out the mud, like going out, shooting videos, just recording, her knowing and understanding that she's not the best rapper, but they're going to figure it out. They're going to work on what they can work on to get the attention and to get the music out there, So, honestly, you look at that case study and you're like, yo, if she could do it,
right?
Nowadays, especially, anybody could do it where, like you said, there were no gatekeepers. Back in the day, when coming into this game, like, if you didn't know anybody, good luck.
Yeah, because there was no scrolling through YouTube.
No, there was no scroll to YouTube. There was no IG. There was no TikTok. There was no... You could record a song in your crib today, have it mastered out on the DSPs tomorrow. That wasn't around. That wasn't a thing. So nowadays, like, there's power in that. You know what I'm saying? Is it hard? Yes. Is everybody else doing it? Yes, but at least it's an opportunity. Back then, like Khan said, you wanted to get on, you had to go through one of these buildings and you had to sign that paper and you had to give up all your publishing. And even then, you had to take this big loan from the record company. Even then, you might not even make it.
Right.
Right? So I look at that. Say what you want about Ice Spice. Some people be like, oh, her songs are not that great. Oh, it's just because she's cute. Oh, it's just that, and the third. But, bro, there's a lot of people that are in that same category that, you know, it's something. So they did something right. Like something that they did right. Whether it was the music, whether it was her, or just the timing, but whatever it is, it all came together to work great. And mind you, they basically did it on their own. So that's a big part, right? That's a big part. There was no participation from. She didn't sign a deal till when? Till after. Because when you were helping her with Munch, she wasn't signed. She wasn't. Right, World Star Hip Hop. So they didn't even get a deal until later on in the game. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. They build leverage.
Right.
You know, and I appreciate you breaking that down, because what things I can add to that, doing digital marketing for a lot of artists, there's a few ways you discover that on YouTube. If you don't use bots and all that bullshit, and you organically get it through like people in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, in the local area, the algorithm will recommend that video to people in New York. Or you can digital market it on DJ Kast's timeline when he's scrolling through his YouTube. That video could just pop up and catch his attention because we could target it just to New York. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, to the earlier point, the creativity, look, you can put out a video on YouTube, and a lot of times when we market our artists, when they have a long-ass intro, look, I don't want to disrespect their artistry and like what they put into the little mini movie that comes out before the hook, but we'll chop that. You can bring it back after the ad is done, but we'll chop that completely off, and we start with the hook. So that way, if Kast One hears it, he knows right there, it catches his attention, and he can decide whether he wants to play it or not.
And sometimes I think about this, right, because now you see records that are like a minute long, 2 minute long, and I'm like, yo, would Mobb Deep Shook Ones work nowadays with that long ass intro? You know what I'm saying? Like something like that. What? Not even the Quiet Storm, like Shook Ones. Like Shook Ones has the lighter on and the whole bunch, and the whole thing builds. Nowadays, people be like, all right, cool, next. You know what I'm saying? Like, next. So that's why, like I said, even your song, right? Bro, clip, hook on the TikTok. That's it, you know what I'm saying? And from there, you'll hook, that's like you said, the hook. You'll hook people, and they'll go looking for it. They'll go looking for the song. They'll go looking for more of your stuff. You know what I'm saying?
No, exactly. And, guys, write down, take these notes. Kast One, like, this is R&D. Just like Apple will do R&D to figure out how to put out the next iPod or the next version of their MacBook Pro, whatever. That's what he does every morning, right? Just like when DJ Walla was up here, he was like, I find my new trends of records that I want to get behind off of TikTok. And people that are in the business, they'll put in the work in the morning. Just like me, I religiously listen to New Music Friday playlist by Spotify because I want to see what's out. And when you get to the bottom of the list, usually independent artists are on there that may come through like Sony Orchard. And I want to know what's their situation, because it's not easy at all in the U.S. to get on New Music Friday. But that's my R&D. And there's all kinds of records on there. Country records, pop records, R&B, hip-hop, of course, the first, 20 songs, the biggest artists in the world, whatever. But you listen to it, that's the R&D. So I appreciate that you broke it down.
And you should never underestimate the power of your block. Because guess what? If you get to support other people around you, all those people have phones, right? They're going to start pumping your shit. Their friends' friends have phones. Their friends' 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 friends have phones. You know what I'm saying? And all of that spreads organically. So, I know the whole thing is digital and all of that, but don't underestimate. That's a stepping stone. That's a stepping stone. That's a big stepping stone, right? Where you have people speaking for you instead of you just speaking all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you give it to your man and your man likes it, he gives it to his man, who gives it to their 3 cousins, to give it to their 5 peoples. Next thing you know, you got 200 people that know the song, right? 200 people, and that real number is a real thing. Whereas, digital can be manipulated from time to time. You see people buying views and all this type of shit. But, that's the difference between, a J. Cole and another artist. Like, J. Cole could go anywhere in the country and sell out a show, sell out a fucking arena, because he got real fans. He got real people. Like, it's real people that like him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's real people that, because that's another thing. Like, artists nowadays, if you can't sell, and there's a lot of them, Nels will tell you, he'll tell you, if you can't sell a hard ticket, what are you really?
Thank you. Thank you.
If you can't sell a hard ticket, what are you really, right?
Yep.
Because a lot of artists that are big, you see them and they have 1 million followers, and they can't sell out SOBs. Shit's crazy.
Yep. And look, the reason you guys are here, because I toughed it out in the beginning. Trust me, all those tricky strategies like, market worldwide and all of that. But here's the thing. Again, you can do whatever you want. Sometimes that strategy makes sense, but with every client that we deal with, we got to figure out what they want to do. But I always recommend target your local area, blow up your local area for many reasons, just like all the ones we're talking about, because it's so much cheaper to get streams from Eastern Europe. I'm just going to say where I'm from Prague. But if the equivalent of Kast One in Prague hears you and he's like, yo, come fly out and perform at the club, you don't have $2,000 to get a round trip ticket. So what for? And they're not going to call you, trust me, because they know you're not going to bring out 100 people in their club in Prague, right? So tough it out, because yes, marketing in New York City, it's 10 times more expensive than going to Eastern Europe or Nigeria or whatever, and 20 times more expensive than going to India. But what are those streams good for? I'm not saying they're not real people listening to your music, but it depends on when you want to market worldwide. That's when you get to the label level. If you do it locally, you got all these things to your benefit. The local DJs, record label reps, your neighborhood, own your own neighborhood. I heard that a lot of times from having the privilege to be in this industry and working with bigger names. They're like, if you own your own hood, like that way, they're going to help you get out there, because the label can't deny that energy. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for breaking that down. And Nels, I got a question for you, if we could kind of piggyback on that, and then also one for you. So distribution-wise, right? Like I have a lot of artists with good stories on invite-only distribution platforms, but also stories where they thought things were going to happen, but nothing happened, and they're like, oh, they're taking 20% of my streams. But can you explain to independent artists what should they be doing for you guys to really work with them? And like, what are your suggestions to independent artists to potentially, for you to hear the songs and say, you should go through Sony Orchard, we can help you with X, Y, and Z?
Well, I believe from the Orchard standpoint, you don't have to pitch to us. We'll go find you if your shit is hot. You could look at an 80-20 split where a distro center could get 20, you get 80. At the end of the day, you still own the music. It's yours. You can take the music and go to another distro. The terms are different everywhere you go, but the reality is that distro centers are into making money. They're not into, we're just gonna sign you, we think you're cool, and let it sit on the shelf, and then you're expecting more than what it is. It's a partnership. You're an independent artist, and we're actually putting you in position of power, because when you pop, whatever you ask for, you're gonna get it. So we end up looking for you. You ain't gotta worry about coming to us. That's just how we work at the Orchard.
What I want to say to that is thanks for being honest and transparent, because I work with other Sony Orchard teams. There's a few different independent teams that work with Sony Orchard, and you answered my next question, because my next question to you was going to be like, when should an artist consider going to a invite-only distributor? But you answered, and I tell us, like, you build it, they come. Yeah, they'll find you. But if you're not building it, and I'm not talking about faking them out with streams, that's going to bite you in the ass.
Let me say something. At the Orchard, we got easily about 600 plus people working there. If they can't see your product online on the DSPs and your numbers growing up, then we're doing something wrong, and it hasn't been like that. So the reality is, you're an independent artist, put out hot shit. That's exactly what's gonna get the numbers. That's exactly what's gonna get you put to the next level. And the reality is that if you're the creator and you created the record, it's your direction. It's, eventually what happens is all we're doing is distributing, but it'll come to a point where you're taking the lead, and now you're the record company, and we're just a distributor. So, go to work. That's how I look at it.
No, that's huge, and I want to piggyback off of that, CL, question for you. So I was telling you, we have a client right now that we're trying to push in the Mississippi area. He goes by Run It Up 10. They got a decent budget, but I'm telling them, let's do this the right way, saturate the local market and all that. But say we wanted to go with one of the packages through Digiwax, right? So we can make even more noise other than just doing digital marketing. So then potentially Nels can hear about, his team can hear about the artists that we're working with to then make the call on their own. Because, now that I know him, I could easily reach out, but for what if the artist is not ready? But how can Digiwax, like how we work with you guys? You talked about those consultations that you could get the artists in front of a bunch of DJs. Tell me more about that if you don't mind. Cause,
there's a few ways. First and foremost is consultation with just our team. That's the thing. We just try to figure out how to crack the code. We call it the crack the code consultations, to where it's just us, a few DJs, and the internal Digiwax team, where we play your music, play whatever content you have, and just try to analyze it and try to figure out a path to success over time. So that's the first thing, just to do a SWOT analysis. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Play to the strengths. After that, start to engage. So servicing your music to DJs is a must. Kast cannot play your song if he don't have it. It just can't happen. Other people cannot support your music if they don't have it.
No. Did you finish?
I'm going with that point.
Okay. One thing about me is, besides being a student of the culture, I really live it, and Kast One can tell you this, and Corey could tell you this. I'm a person that when I hear a record, especially brand new from an independent, and I believe in it, and if you go through my whole entire lineup of everybody I worked with in the past, at least 50% of them were all baby acts just trying to get to where they had to get to. But when I heard the record, via however it got to me from a DJ or just me seeing it online, when I see a record and I see a vision and I believe in it, and I usually step in and try to consult the person. It's not a money thing. It's just let me get the record out. I did it 2 weeks ago with Scarlett. I heard people saying, yo, send me the record. Let me get it out, because it wasn't even outside of New York. It was just a New York thing. And it wasn't even on the DSPs at the time. It was just the music video. So, my whole thing is I really live the culture and I love the music. So when I see a vision, I see something, 9 out of 10, I'm like, I'll call the artist, yo, send me that record. I like that record. He's like, yo, where are you? I'm going to play you some more stuff. Okay, cool. At least I build a relationship from the ground with them, because even if I get the record out and it goes somewhere else, that guy's always going to remember he's the first one to reach out to me. You know what I'm saying? So in the past, that'll be a subject, a topic for a whole nother panel of artists that I stepped to directly and said, I need that record. That's the one. Trust me, it's going to go. And eventually they became superstars. So, but it started somewhere, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Just speaking on the local level, we talk about Mississippi or New York.
How about Mississippi, like New Orleans? Like, would you localize it, or tell me more on that.
Yeah, well, if the record, so this is where the artist and the team got to get to work. So, I want this man to play my music. I'll send it to him. Cool. He may be busy. He may got a lot of stuff going on. It may take time to actually get him to give it that honest listen. And I got to create these scenarios that will do that. So number one, service it, cool. But then I'm going to go down to Mississippi. And I'm going to go down to New Orleans, and I'm going to do a series of things. Number one is I'm going to do a DJ meet and greet, almost a release party for my single, no matter what. And I'm inviting every DJ, and I'm playing it over and over and over until it brainwashes somebody. Over and over and over. After that, I'm going up to the mix show, to the radio station. I'm hosting the mix show, lunch. If it's a little later, maybe a dinner or whatever, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm celebrating my song over and over and over again. And I'm winning. And the thing is that you got to talk to, everybody wants to Kast One. Morning show spin, Kast One shouts out your name. Somebody going to call you. Somebody's going to call you. That's we're talking about the upper echelon of,
right.
But there's a lot of DJs. And my thing to y'all is don't be afraid to make a connection with the up and comings too. You know what I'm saying?
Just another quick story I want to tell you guys real quick about how strong or how effective local support can be, right? So a couple years ago, a friend of mine was hitting me up, He's like, yo, I got this artist. I want you to come meet him. I want you to come listen to this artist. I want you to come meet him. I'm like, well, just send me the song. I'm mad busy. I don't have time to go. I'm like, where's the artist? He's like, oh, in Brooklyn. I don't have time to go to Brooklyn. Just send me the song. Like, yo, if I send you the song, you're not going to understand it. I need you to come meet the artist. I need you to come meet the artist. I'm like, all right, fine. So finally, maybe after like a month, I was like, all right, fine. I'm going to meet y'all there tonight. Because they was like, oh, we in the studio in Manhattan. I'm like, all right, cool. I went down there to meet him. And it was Pop Smoke, right? So Pop Smoke at the time had a couple of records out on the street, but nothing really crazy yet, right? And no, excuse me. The reason I went was because the guy, Steven Victor, is a good friend of mine, and we went to school together, whatever. He just keep beating me in the head about, I got this artist, you gotta meet him. You're not gonna understand the music if you don't meet him. So I met Pop, right? But here's the thing. Here's the thing about having a plan and knowing what you want to do. The first night that I met Pop Smoke, here he is. He's in the studio here in Manhattan. He got all his Brooklyn homies is there. They all there. 5 years there. Everybody's there, going crazy. So I'm like, all right, I'm in the studio for a couple of while. They doing their thing. So then we take a minute and we just talk. And he's like, yo, man, I just want to let you know my plan. And I was like, mind you, this is Pop Smoke. He's 18, maybe, right? Shit. He's like, I want to let you know my plan, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know I'm playing all these records right now, and it's that drill shit, and it's crazy, but I got real records, you know what I'm saying? And here's my plan. And this was crazy because we in the stairwell, and this is what he's telling me. He's like, yo, listen, so I got all these, right now, there's a lot of records out that are like pop records. I don't remember what was out at the time, but it was like a lot of like pop, hip-hop records. He's like, yo, I'm going to come with this drill shit, and I'm going to fuck the game up. I'm going to come with the drill shit, and I'm going to flip the game. Everybody's going to go that way. He was like, I got all my guys with me. I'm signing Fabio. I'm signing this guy. I'm signing that guy, right? This is the plan. I got these. He played me, that night he played me Welcome to the Party, Dior, and a record he had with Fabio that was on his second album, right? Then he played me all the sing-songy records. What y'all want that shit? He played me Ja Rule. He has a record that he sampled a Ja Rule. He has a whole bunch of pop records. He's like, these right here, these are my hit records. Once I get their attention with this shit right here, I'm gonna go with this. When everybody comes here now, everybody gonna come flip here, I'm going here. That was his plan from day one. So when you hear his first album come out and it's like, there's a lot of pop songs, a lot of poppy songs on there, you're like, yo, this wasn't what I expected. He had this planned out from day one, right? Then that's part one. Part two was the perseverance, right? So they go, okay, we're gonna go Welcome to the Party. And I'm like, all right, cool. I get it. I don't like this song, but I understand your vision. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. I did not like Welcome to the Party. I was like, yo, I don't like this song. This is different. No, because at the time, you gotta remember, that shit wasn't the sound yet, bro. So people wasn't really up on that like that. You know what I'm saying? It was in Brooklyn. In Brooklyn, it was moving. In Brooklyn, it was the movie. And that's what helped it too, because I was like, they're like, yo, we doing a show tomorrow they did some show at a high school in Brooklyn. And I was like, all right, in Canarsie. I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna come out just to see what it is. I went to the show and it was about 1,000 kids in there. He comes on and they act like he's God. It was like, whoo, crazy. I'm like, I was in there like this. The next day, I went up to Hot 97. I was like, yo, enough. Camilo, Flex, Bobby Trent, listen to me. Listen to me. This kid right here is out of here. Like, we gotta, I know we don't like this record. This kid's out of here, right? Camilo, he'll tell you if you ask him. Camilo hated that record, hated it. Only played it because they had video of that party. That party that I went to, they had video. And they played it. They came to the station and played it for everybody individually. Like, yo, look, here's a video. Here's like, this is what it looks like in Brooklyn. Like, this is a real thing. All right, cool. So once you see that, you're like, yo, I can't be the guy that's not playing what's hot in the street. Even though I don't like it, and we don't know it, and the average person don't know it, I can't be that guy, right? So that's the pressure. That's the pressure you guys put on somebody when you already popping in your neighborhood, or you already got a movement, and people see that. The natural instinct is to be down with the movement because they don't want to be the person that's not, right?
There you go.
So boom.
The market spoke.
So now the DJs, the way radio works, a record doesn't just go on and get played all the time, right? Sometimes make sure DJs have a little bit of leverage to play some new shit. So Pop Smoke record, they were playing the record. Now what happens after that, this is the caveat of whether your record goes or not. When they put it into research. Research is when radio stations take the record and they play it for a bunch of people in the room or whatever, and they say whether they like it or not, whatever the fuck. If they don't like it, you're gone. So they put about 50 records in research every week, every month or whatever. That record came back 51. Bottom of the barrel. Our program director was like, bro, get that shit out of here. We're not playing that. That shit is not it. We all had to fight for it. Like the DJs was like, no. You don't understand. This guy, this is the biggest in the street. And by this time it was growing. So now, like you know how you looked at me when I said I didn't like Welcome to the Party. It was like, oh, you crazy? By this time it was to that level in the street. But the average mom that's getting in their car at 5 o'clock don't give a fuck about that shit. She was like, what the fuck is this shit? Play Nicki Minaj, right?
Yeah.
So that just shows the perseverance that people have to put behind these songs. That song didn't go from 1 to 2. That Pop Smoke was a gradual build that only built, and the only reason that shit worked was because of that video, because of In the Club and his hood. Because he was already signed at that time. Pop Smoke was already signed at that time, but he had no label support because they ain't believe in it. But he got the people in his hood to believe in that shit. And he was a star in his hood. He was a star in his hood. He couldn't walk down a block. That song came on and everybody was supporting it, right? So that's what I mean by real tangible support. Where you could show that goes a long way. I would say even more than streams, right? Because streams, you look at streams, you're like, all right, cool, but where's the streaming, right? Yeah. Like a record can have 1 million streams and you never heard it.
That's right. And you can fake those.
You could
see the video of 1,000 kids show up at a high school.
Right, but even if you fake streams, like, or even if they're real streams, is it streaming local? Like, is it here? Is it a thing here? Right? Everybody's always gonna look at, especially if you don't have label backing, everybody's gonna look at, well, where is it big? Like, if it's big, where is it big? Like Pop Smoke shit was big in Brooklyn, then it spread to Queens, and it spread to the Bronx, and even then, after that record was a big record here in New York, they wasn't playing that shit outside Connecticut, maybe, and Pennsylvania, Philly, maybe.
That's what I'm saying. In Baltimore, like, because I'm in the music industry, I'm looking for these. I know Jay's, like, you ever heard of this guy? You told me about Pop Smoke. And then I'll look him up, and like Baltimore's not that far from New York. And we're in the digital age. This is 3 years ago.
Yeah,
so it's not like it's gonna go viral. But thank you for like breaking that down, because guys, you're not gonna get these gems nowhere else. This is like literally history. Like history when you learn it in college, what you just gave, and I really appreciate that, right? Because there's plenty of people saying, nah, he did this, he knew that, and he got put on and blah, but it was a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
And he made it undeniable, even though you guys DJs were like, I don't know about this record just yet. He just
you're not always gonna.
It was local.
You're not always gonna hear a record and go, yo, that record's a smash. If anybody tells you, yo, I pick every fucking record that's a smash, they lying. That's not true. What happened?
I'm sorry, but it originates from New York anyway.
What do you mean?
Most shit originates from New York, so people have to have a keen ear to whatever's coming out of New York anyways. So
Yeah.
with that just a little respect that we get, we can go a long way. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's not necessarily true anymore.
And let me tell you something.
No.
And let me tell you something. As much as I love this city, the same people that will put us up is the same people that's hating at the same time. So it depends. I can go through this whole room and pick records, and I'll definitely know that I'll get a different balance. Say again?
Who's they?
Nah, they don't play God. You gotta be the decision maker.
No, you gotta make it. You gotta make that happen. That's why I said that whole Pop Smoke story. That wasn't a mistake. That wasn't a.
It's the market.
That was
kids
planned.
in high school.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the consumer.
It wasn't even perfect. It was up and down. Like, nah, it wasn't perfect. It looks perfect from the outside, but it wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect, bro. But that's hard work, planning, and perseverance. You know what I'm saying? Which is, I'm telling you, shit doesn't happen overnight. Like, very rarely it does. Even 50 Cent. This guy right here, this guy that's sitting right here, when 50 Cent first started doing these mixtapes, he went and he found 50 Cent. I'm going to find this dude. Found 50 Cent, was like, yo, what song do you got? Took Wankster, press that shit on vinyl. Like, I don't know, but back in the day, you have to go get this shit pressed on record. Pressed it on record. That shit had no label on it. The nigga wrote Wankster on it. Wrote it on every one of them and went to every DJ and was like, yo, here, this is the hottest shit out. Here, you should play. Here's the hottest shit out. Mind you, 50 Cent wasn't signed. He had no deal with 50 Cent. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, just because he saw it and he believed in it and he saw Fifth and Fifth had a plan. That's planning, perseverance, and whatever the other word said. Execution, hard work. So it's not, it's not night and day. It may look that way, but it's a process. Because even he'll tell you, I'll give him the mic. How hard was it to get 50 Cent play when 50 was the hottest shit in the street?
It was very hard, trust me. Because people were looking at him. I mean, at the time, the rivals had the game so on lock that we just pretty much fed off the bootleggers. And the funny thing about it is that when I went to get Wankster, he's like, if you like that, I got this record with Biggie. I'm like, what? And he's like, if you like that, I got this record with Missy. And I'm like, and he just has so many records. And then I was like, let me just get this one going first, and then we're going to bring everything else behind us. And he was like, you better hurry up, because I don't see. In his head, he didn't see it with Wankster. I was the one seeing. I was like, nah, let's do it. Let's do it. Come on. He's like, you sure? I was like, yeah. He's like, I got bigger records. I was like, nah. Let me go here in this direction first. And from there, we just, once the snowball effect comes in, everything goes right behind it.
Well, I'm just gonna say, like, the bottom line is perseverance and hard work, really and truly, and planning, and going at DJs and people of influence. You really need to figure out how you're gonna connect with each one on every level. Figure out what's important to them, and do that. Social media is crazy because I can go to certain DJs and I can say, let's go live. Certain DJs are now doing their own podcasts. Certain DJs have their own platforms. Connect with them on that level, locally and nationally. But you gotta, the perseverance is the key.
Right, that's the beauty about digital. You can sort of replace the physical form if you get on the Zoom meeting or something. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for that, because that shit was huge right there. Like that's history to make it. And I want to make sure we get our last artist, if you don't mind. We're gonna do one more artist. Get a quick feedback on it. I think Consequence went to make sure he doesn't get a parking ticket, so he'll come back. But after that, we'll do a rap and maybe a little bit of networking if you guys are willing to donate some extra time. But he's got to go to a show. So let's do the last artist.
All right.
And then
so the last artist is named Can Go Crazy, and the song is called Pretty Little Freak. And he'll have a minute to pitch his brand to the panelists. And Matei will time it.
I'll go first.
What's good, everybody? What's good? I am Can Go Crazy. I recently just changed my name like a year ago. Because it was just like, I started producing music, making beats. And I just kept saying every time I was making beats, damn, this shit go crazy. And I just put my name as Kenny, so I just put Ken in the front. So it's Can Go Crazy. So that's the brand I'm building. I got a new project on the way called I Had to Go Crazy. Because I feel like we all here for a reason, right? Like, we want to be a part of this industry, so the only way to do it is to fucking go crazy and take every opportunity and do your best at it. So that's my brand, going crazy. So on my project, I'm planning to release like merch with it. I Had to Go Crazy merch. And it's not going to be like just regular graphic tees, some shit you can wear. So, because I'm trying to figure out like how to fit the culture with the music and make some fucking money, because that's the thing too. But we can get into it, man. I had this new song, Pretty Little Freak.
Woo! All right. Good stuff. Panelists, any words on the performance?
Yo, Ken, you went crazy.
Appreciate you.
There you go.
Nah, that was fire. I like that one a lot, actually. That was real fire. I mean, I have nothing to say about that. I like it, man. The melodies was hot. The beat was hot. The hook was hot. I like it.
Did you go to school for engineering or something?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something, right? Yeah, I'm gonna just say something like about that. It's good, but it's an unfair advantage because when you go to school for engineering, you learn sound. Like what Consequence was talking about earlier. I'm like, okay, this dude's shit is like, it's much more, ready and polished. But I like the whole go crazy theme. One of the biggest things is to figure out how do you stick out, and I feel like you figured that out. And now you have to put your music out and market it correctly. That's all I gotta say.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, just from you talking about the merch and stuff like that, I thought that was dope. The record sounds good. Of course, I went to engineering school, and I'm really about that sound quality. You know what I'm saying? That's why. I went to AandR, so yeah. I'm big on sound just because I want to hear. There's a whole nother story about sound, because the reason why Beats by Dre, Bose, who else the other company is? Beats, Bose, there's one more. Monster, everybody that pretty much came out, JBL, everybody that's came out with a speaker and headphones. The reason why those companies became so, one of the reasons why the companies became so big is because of sound quality of music. People want to hear it on a certain level. So, props to you. The record is dope. Sounds good.
Appreciate it.
To what you said about the quality, I could, I mix and master records as well. The thump of the beat, you could tell, right? And that's how beats really got real popular, because Dre tweaked the headphones to be higher in the low frequencies, and a lot of the youngins that would listen to it, they were like, this is knocking. So no matter what they were listening to, like, he would just make the song knock, even if the engineer didn't make it knock, because the beats, headphones, you know what I mean?
And I'll just add to that the way you made the beat sound and you produced it is dope, but you understood to have your vocals up just as high as the way you had the bottoms up on the record, you know what I mean? So, big deal.
Yeah, for sure. It's a dope name. Can't Go Crazy. I'll actually remember that. You know what I'm saying? Is that record out?
Yeah, that record out. It's streaming everywhere. Matter of fact, make sure y'all follow me everywhere at Can't Go Crazy. That's 2 Z's and 2 Y's. But yeah, that's out everywhere. It's called Pretty Little Freak.
Pretty Little Freak. So, all right, guys, that was the last artist. Give a round of applause. Give a round of applause for the panel, please. Nels, CL, Kast One. I think, might have taken a bathroom break. I know, hopefully, Consequence will be back. If not, we want to thank him for coming through and dropping history and gems on everybody. So again, this is the May show. We're going to be back in June. I want to thank everybody. I know Nels got to get going. He's got another show. CL, if you want to stick around for a while. I know artists got questions, all of that. So I appreciate you guys. Again, scan the QR code. Make sure you follow Music Vitamins on all platforms. We're getting better at posting content out there. Make sure you follow me, JC, Heavy Hitter DJ, Marketing Genius as well. Mixed by Gabriel, our whole team. So thank you guys for coming out. Appreciate everybody. And make sure you get a drink, too. Support the venue so they keep supporting us. Thank you.